Lazy group member wants us to do his part. Sure thing. I just finished a big group project worth about 30% of our total grade. The groups were selected for us so I didn't know anyone beforehand. So like any other group, there's always a slacker who just piggybacks off of everyone else's work. This project spanned the entire length of the term and this slacker just did the absolute bare minimum or nothing at all for each of our deliverables. So here comes the end of the term and we have to submit our final report, which had to include a video demo of our app, and this made up a significant portion of the marks. Of course the slacker puts it off till the last possible min to tell us he's not home and will be busy the day of submission. Our group was planning to record the last day cause the rest of the project had to be finished to demo it. So obviously I'm pissed cause this dude is just being a huge pain, but I tell him, it's all good man, we'll just cover your part in the demo. He happily agrees as he won't have to do shit once again. Here's the kicker, in the requirements of the demo every member has to be in the recording or you won't get any marks for that portion. Clearly this guy didn't read the rubric and so he thinks he's getting a good deal. If you didn't participate in the demo you get a 0 for that portion. Bet this guy is gonna be confused why his marks are so much lower than the rest of us. You'd better confirm that the lower marks are just for that one member, and not for your entire team. I once slacked off in a project. I was helping out for the first 2 or 3 days, but then it just left my mind, I guess. I felt guilty about it for weeks. I kid you not, weeks. I didn't even want to show my face to the other group members. I just kept my head down in the class that I had with them. And the worst part is that they covered up for me, and I got commended by the teacher. Make sure no part of your grade is based on peer evals. He could give you bad evals and ding your grade for tricking him. I've found that I get too focused on finishing a project to get mad at someone slacking. While yes, I should absolutely do something about the person not putting in effort, I tend to be more worried about the finished project, and fixing up the lazy person's work to make it look better. I think a good team can be crucial to finishing a project, but I also like doing the work by myself so I don't have to rely on anyone else or be held up by someone. As long as you didn't say that's all good to him in writing you're fine, otherwise if I was him I'd be taking you down with me. Because it sounds like he could have some sort of proof of sabotage. Sure, they're very welcome, awesome Paul BTW. I sure hope his middle initial is in. Chef's kiss. Anyone who thinks that whole thing and why face with rolling eyes. Honestly, this is the best thing you can do. Serves a lesson and helps you deal with what happened. In college I had a bad experience with this and it was the whole group doing it to me. I hope you get an amazing grade. Do you have a teammate review form you can use to comment on his performance for the rest of the project? I think I'm the one lucky person in the entire world who never had a slacker in any of my group projects in school. Group projects in my career, however, have been another matter. Slackers everywhere. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. Friedrich Nietzsche. Mega fuck any professor or school that gives group projects. Fuck them in the ass with a pineapple. Group projects in school that count for a large portion of your grade should be illegal, to be totally honest, especially if you're paying to go to college or something. One time I was assigned a group project with 3 other people. Right off the bat one of the group members said he'd like to do the whole project himself because he is particular and didn't want anybody to mess up how he works. Whatever, that was cool to the other 3 of us because we thought we lucked out now that he was going to take care of the whole thing. We even offered to help but he declined. Come the day of presentations the first slide of the PowerPoint had only his name on it. The second slide had our names under a title that read, "Those WHODIDNT do anything," and multiple slides the presentation were just roasting us for not helping and our teacher gave him full marks and gave us hardly passing. Still worth it. I hated group projects. Mainly because they really do prepare you for how the real world works. I hated group work. I always aimed for a passing grade, while my group mates always aimed for the best. So much unneeded stress if the teacher had put me in a group with others like me. The possibility that one or more group members do as little as possible is always greatly increased when everyone in the group gets the same grade. We use peer assessment to determine individual marks in a group assignment. Here is a quick video of Peer Assess Pro. Hope you didn't put that in writing, all he has to do is go to the professor and show that you told him don't come. Yeah. Definitely email your professor day of or day before and let them know that someone in your group did jack all semester. Not exactly malicious compliance. First college group project, one girl only showed up when we had to meet for class. At the end of the project the professor said to be totally honest and we were. The girl got low marks from us. It felt great. I once kicked someone out of a group assignment at uni because they did all their parts at the last minute. We needed time to edit each person's work for fluidity. It was very satisfying because the slacker never thinks they will get kicked out by their teammates. Do you guys not have peer assessments for group work? Had to kinda do this to someone on our last quarter of college. Hardest software engineering class I've taken and we have a huge project to do as our final grade. This dude came up with excuses constantly when the group wanted to meet, did about 10% of the work, and even that, I had to redo because it was completely wrong. I told the professor exactly what he did. Not sure what happened to him or his final grade. This kind of justice reminds me of when my professor could obviously tell the other kids in my group barely participated in the project or prepared for our presentation. She asked me to sit down when we went to the front of the class and let them do the presentation without me. Was clear that some hadn't even looked at the slides before. Lol. I did a group presentation 4 days ago. One member slacked off, ended up ghosting us, and we found out 2 minutes after presenting with a blank section for them that they dropped the course. I spent multiple nights working on it from after class until 1 a.m. to fill our 35 minutes as much as possible. Felt like such a fool. Ugh, I hated group projects. All too often, teachers and professors would end up penalizing the entire group when there was even one member of the group like that. Often when we didn't get to pick our groups, the teacher, professor would stick me in a group of slackers, thinking my work ethic would rub off on them. No, I do the work, but I'm not really leadership material. Those bastards knew it, and I had to do all the work in hopes of a passing grade. Oh man, I hate those stupid team projects. I'd rather take a 0 and go to a final test, than give a parasite a free pass. This is giving me horrifying flashbacks of being added to a college group project and promptly having one person out of 4 immediately say, I can't help with this project. I'm planning my wedding. My request to drop her was denied. True to form, she didn't do anything. DB has clearly lost his panache. I always hated group projects. For my technical writing class, all online, circa 2003, we had 5 people in our group and one was slacking. Nothing overly dramatic happened. The 4 of us talked to the teacher understood and had the 4 of us finish it. We got A's in the class. Don't know about the other person. I had a project like this. I did the software and the rest of the group didn't help 1 ounce. I was willing to do most of the work, but they wouldn't even answer basic questions on presenting, or couldn't. I skipped class the day of the presentation because I already had an A and could take the hit NP. The only sad part was that I didn't get to watch them fail. I mean, you're kinda pulling the rug from under him. You should have probably made your intentions clear. You enabled his laziness, and then fucked him for it. Honestly, you could well have mentioned it to him. But instead you're coming on Reddit for karma. Not malicious compliance so much as setting him up to fail. But hey, as long as you get to feel good. There's always a slacker in groups, but it also depends on what group you are with. I always did the work if it was with the boys, but if it was someone I didn't know, I would basically go catatonic and not do very much work at all. Also, I just remembered that in my freshman botany class, one was in a group with 2 other people because part of the exams in the class were group questions and one of my group members dropped the class without telling us. The professor said the group exam questions were too long for 2 people to finish during exam time, so we had to dissolve our group and each join a different one. The groups also did projects at the end of the class, but I didn't have problems with that because I got grouped with people who were also majors in subject and needed the credits to graduate. In my classes, I would make group members individually submit how much work they believed they themselves and their members did. Sometimes they were honest enough to give themselves 0%. I'm over group projects. I do 2 fucking projects. One in case my group can't figure it out. And if my group figures it out, I do the group project as well. Otherwise I piss myself full of anxiety waiting on other people. Every member has to be in the recording or you won't get any marks. Is that every member of the group, or just the one member not participating? Pretty much all of my group projects in college were like this when I couldn't choose my group or the professors weren't super careful about assigning them, my capstone. I remember one time where my group had people assigned to other ones with the rest not doing anything. I was the only one that did anything and got credit. Maybe fill in his spoken part sounding like Kermit the Frog. I've never had to work in a group of people who don't do work and then have to give a presentation to the rest of the employees at any job I've ever had. Why do schools do this? What does this teach me about life or work or morals or character? I have one that worse than group slackers. She started the project, decided the goal and plan out the whole schedule. We were okay with that. She did a bit of her part, then never did anything more. We had to do the interview, wrote the entire paper, while she was being busy. The worst part was, her project idea had something to do with the college cafeteria, which she didn't tell me she was having issues with them. I went the interview, the department head was giving me shit. Oh, she was the worst. Those are the best part about this story. Keep at it and you'll defeat them. Think of them as your competition. You should just report him to the teacher for not doing shit instead of having them have a lower mark. I did this twice in college. They expelled one guy, he had already failed too many times and this was his last chance. And the other time, they simply sent the other person to do their own project solo. This is so childish. Wait till you get a job. The minimum effort will be the only effort you put it. It is the minimum needed to get the job done. Why do more? I had a ton of group projects like that in college and there is inevitably a slacker in each group that doesn't want to do shit.